Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, where we review TV shows either by an episode by episode basis, season by season basis, or doing quick impressions. Today, you are about to begin the journey of a brand new review series. We are reviewing each and every episode of Heels. Ha! Okay, look, here's the thing. I have never watched a single wrestling thing in my life. You would assume I would be the one like get into WWE or something along that line. Truth be told, no. I have no experience whatsoever. But considering last year I did every Perry Mason episode review, which was completely out of my ballpark on my level of expertise, still I was really fascinated by it. I really liked that show. So Heels was something along my lines where I've told this many times to my friends, and especially one of my collaborators, It's Just George, that when it comes to watching something new, something that I've never seen before, I would always like to go with a cast that I know. And with this show specifically, first of all, bonus to Stephen Amell being the lead here once again. We're also doing every Arrow season reviewed on our channel, but we're currently on a bit of a snafu on that, but it'll be back soon. But when Stephen Amell was announced to be, like literally as soon as he announced Arrow final season was coming out, he announced that this was going to be his follow-up project. And I was really excited, and also I was kind of a little bit hesitant since when it comes to actors doing something, a new thing after like their big thing come to an end, it could be a hit or miss. Like sometimes it's going to be a miss, and then they're ending up half the time going back to the original product because that's what made them big. I was really worried about it, and then when they started rounding out the cast, especially for me, the big three, which was in my life, Alex Ludwig, who what was ironic is I just came back from vacation, so I have a little bit of tan. If you follow me on my What's in the Tube exploits, I'm a little bit more tan than usual. But when I was in the hotel room and I was, they had Grown-Ups, Ron and Grown-Ups too, and Alex Ludwig, who is the star of the show, was on it because he plays, David Spade's son in Grown-Ups too, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna see him in a couple days, and I did, and I'm like, oh my god, and also Kelly Burgundy, who I knew who I've seen in Lab Rats and Elite Force, and has done a lot of Disney Channel stuff. Seeing her again after so long is great, and also kind of weird because there's a moment coming up which I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about, but I'm like, whatever. I'm an adult. I'm 23 years old, becoming 24 soon. So I gotta get used to it. And also, it's on Starz, which again I've never normally watched anything on Starz because Starz is something along the lines of it's mostly a movie channel in my books. It never really came up in my mind to be something I would tune into for original content or original programming. But with these three casts and just the premise of it focusing about wrestling in a small town, I was like, you know what? Last year I took a risk and I loved it. This year I'm gonna do it similarly. So here we go. So anyway, here on What's on the Tube, we normally boil it down to a basic overall impressions, a butchered recap, and then a final review. So just letting you know of all the specifics and expertise. So for me, I've heard a lot of great things about Heels, and I was so freaking bummed that there was an event near me for Heels where I could have seen the first episode way earlier on, but sadly I had work-related things, so I was unable to attend. I was very bummed out by it. I'm very much feeling regret because I would have loved to see this episode on the big screen because literally this felt like a mini movie. Like definitely this sold the premise of the world, and definitely this could have been like a self-contained movie had you just stretched out. You know, this felt like a movie at times. The story where it's like this could have been like the first film of a trilogy, or the first film of a multi-film series. That's what it felt like, because this story felt very much cinematic at times. Like, there's a lot of the characters you want to know about, and there's a lot of the characters that you kind of have an interest in. And literally, I'm already hooked into all these character stories, because there's well more to the story than we're knowing about. This was just the first hour of this 8-hour story. And from what I was really enthralled by it was just the dynamic between Steven and Alex's characters as Jack and Ace. And this definitely felt like something I was really into because like this is like a classic brother rivalry where Jack you can consider to be the more successful one. Ace is kind of like the younger brother who kind of fell along the way in life, and now Ace has become to the point where it's like, well, I'm old enough to make my own decisions, and I'm frankly tired of playing second fiddle to my brother. And everyone else in town, like this is a small town community, so like everyone knows each other, everyone knows what's going on. And ironically, when I went on vacation was another small town area, and I was just curious, like, how does this dynamic work? Because like I've seen plenty of shows that had a small town dynamic before. This one was really more personal, really more direct, because you just see the energy around the room and such like that. Also, I'm gonna have to go. I just damaged my voice with that freaking yelling. So, thank you, Clavo. Anyway, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about the premiere of Heels, which I always thought was mean heel kick. And also they do a little bit of like a little wrestling 101 lesson at the start of this episode where they say that, oh, in wrestling, the face is the hero and the heel is the villain. So the name of the show is called Heels, meaning that it's technically mean villains. Because technically in this story, for me at least, everyone of the main cast, everyone who's like the front face, especially Jack and Ace, you really cannot differentiate the two. They both seem like villains as well as heroes, which makes it interesting because they're exploring this gray area that there's always been like light and dark, and there's always been like good and evil. Both of these characters I can never assume to be good or bad. They both have good traits about themselves, and they both have bad traits about themselves, which describes mostly every human being, because we grew up on this stance of like, you're either a good guy or a bad guy. Well, what if you have good intentions, but sometimes you do the bad things along the way? There's always, you're going to make mistakes in life, and you're going to make these mistakes. You can be a morally good person, or you can be a morally bad person. You really don't know until you get to that point in life where you start to realize your mistakes and your decisions in life. So the episode begins with we're at the Duffy wrestling ring, the big gathering place for all the residents of Duffy, Georgia. And Duffy's a very weird name to say. No offense. So we're in the middle of like a big match, like back-to-back wrestling match. Again, I have no rapport in the WWE, so I'm like, I really don't know what the heck is going on here. I really don't. But everyone's having fun. Everyone's excited. We see our main titular character, Stephen Amell, in very tight Speedos, and I'm just like, this guy was Green Arrow for 8 years, and now he's a man in a Speedo. Wow. So he's beating up this guy called Big Jim, or Big Mac, I forgot what his name was. He beats him on winning the championship belt, but everyone's kind of unhappy because, you know, he's the villain, he's the bad guy, and he's not supposed to win. And then coming off on the stage is his brother, Ace Spade. Also, I'm pretty sure his dad basically was like, oh, my last name is Spade. It would be awesome to have my son's name after the other cards in the poker chip. I'm like, damn, that's ironic. Also, everyone's in front of the call. Everyone loves Ace because Ace is the new guy. He's the big friendly hero, and everyone wants him to win. And he comes up to the stage demanding a challenge from Jack, saying that, hey, let's do it here. Let's have the championship match right now. And of course, obviously, you're not going to have the championship match on top of that. You want more people to spend more money. So it's like, we'll do it next week. And they're like, oh, come on, man. Do it now. Let's save some money. Because, like, these people probably spend, like, not a lot of money. It's a small town. I'm pretty sure they can't overcharge for tickets. But I'm pretty sure they can charge a decent amount. I'm pretty sure. And also, this is the one thing, and then we're going to get into the financials of the show in a second. And just seeing everyone just like goes, oh, come on, like, oh, but they're still gonna come next week for the big championship match, like the big thing to wrap it home. And the only reason why I know a little bit more than I let on is because I watched Young Rock earlier this year, and they dabbled in like the minor wrestling circuit, not the WWE, like, but like all the local wrestling leagues and stuff like that. They were all exploring those aspects, and so I know a little bit more about it per se, but everyone's happy. Everyone's like ready for the next big match and like to see which brother's gonna win the championship title once and for all in the season. So it's all heated up. I believe we get a minor time skip, or it's the next day. I'm a little confused about it because they said we're gonna do this next week, but also technically it was Saturday night. Like, I really don't know when the timeline is on that. Because also they had for the first time in so long, we had an actual, well, for me and all the shows I've reviewed so far in terms of an episode by episode basis, they have an opening theme, like an opening song, like an actual, like, you know, with credits, with actual lyrics flowing through a transition. And I'm like, damn, it's been so long, because normally every time lately I've always seen shows just like, here's a catchy beat, here's the logo, maybe here's 10 seconds of who's in the show, and that's it. This is an actual minute long opening. I'm just thinking to myself, damn, they're really going all out. They really are. So I was fascinatingly impressed by that. We cut to the next morning, or some other morning where Jack's in the middle of a jog cycle, just thinking about, the importance of this championship match, how he has to make sure that the fans get what they want, but also the storyline, because Jack has always been like, and even in the first, we're going to get to that in a bit, just seeing him, like, he's always had things got to go his way. He needs to get his way because he thinks this is the right way. But he's not letting everyone else kind of like influence that decision that much. He's not really letting anyone else do that. So he arrives home. His wife and his kid are getting ready for church, because small towns, I believe, normally do church. That's kind of like a big important thing in their lives, to wake up every Sunday morning, go to church. I mean, I am Catholic. I'm being honest. I am a Catholic person. I just never have time to go to church anymore because of job or work or just other things in my life I have to do. So I really don't have time for that. No offense. No offense to that. Jack's more important right now is to finish the script for the big championship match, which is that night, and he hasn't even started a single page of it. But his wife kind of pressures him to just get dressed and head to church, because it's been a while since they've done a church gathering as a family. He submits, and I'm being honest with you, and this could be, again, another small town aspect. It could just be, it seems like their high school love, high school love sweethearts. It seems like that's the dynamic, but also they seem very much older on. So I'm like, I really don't know how this is going on, really. Because Jack sometimes acts like a teenager, because like there's a line when they're arguing, because she doesn't yell at him, and I know we're setting up for like some big argument down the line. But when they were talking, and she was like very soft spoken, like, I don't think you should be spending all this money on the equipment, because we have a son. There could be other things we could be doing, like to spend time together as a family. It's not always about the business. But Jack's more like, no, the business needs to expand. We need to invest in the business so we can start making money off the business, which it is business 101. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do before you start really wasting your money in there. So that's a little bit, but the reason why I bring up the fact that Jack kind of acts like a teen at times is he's talking to his wife after they're talking about certain things. He's like, you really gotta make me want to have sex with you before we go to church. I'm like, Jesus Christ. No, okay, no coincidence there. Not really. Meanwhile, they head over to the church, and also another apparent about the financial state of the Duffy Wrestling League. They have their place of business as not at a single freaking renovation or upgrade since it opened, because they literally do not have the money to keep it renovated, because it's just too damn expensive, and it's also an old ass building, so it's not going to stay there for long. And also, by the time the one of the main managers heads over back to the stadium to start prep for the whole night for the whole night's event, she finds that actually there's a leak coming out from the roof, so it's like, fuck. This is the last thing we need on the big day. This is the last thing we need. They head over to the church. We meet Jack's grandma, who's just a sweetheart. She's an old-fashioned grandma. She's very happy her son's here, but her other son's running late, and that's kind of just really unfortunate for them. And Jack, again, is demonstrating like he just needs things his way. He just pushes his son towards the church. Like, let's not fraternize that much longer. Let's just get in, get out, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, his younger brother, Ace, is peeing away on a tree on church property. I'm pretty sure they have a baptistry. I don't think town's that old. Also, I forgot to mention them. We got a little bit of a brief montage of the town. It's your typical small town in 2021, 22, whatever this show's taking place in. The town could use some repairs. This does not seem one of those towns you come for the tourist attraction. This doesn't seem like this. It's more like a small town that really just focuses on itself and its economy. Then that's the only way they can like really survive, so to speak. Anywho, they're at the church. It turns out, I forgot to mention, Jack's wife is a part of the, what's the terminology for church musicians? Is it organ players? She's part of the choir. Oh yeah, the choir. And Ace is like the fun brother. He's like the fun doofus. Everyone wants to be around it. Jack's son really cares about him. He really loves him. But Jack's trying to be a little bit more distant, like a little bit more like, and it's always claimed like, oh, the reason why his attitude's like that is because he's got to stay in character. Like even when he's public, he's got to stay in character. Which, I can admit to that because it is a small town. You really don't want to destroy the energy before the big day. But it's kind of like starting to interfere with his personal life since all of his friends and all of his family are just having fun together, and they're just like, oh, Jack's not here. He's playing the character. He's not here. And you can start to see, like, just a little bit like, yeah, well, we appreciate him focusing on the family business, but sounds like it would be nice for him to focus on the family instead of the family business. We head over to the ring area, the ring arena. Kelly Burgundy's character, Crystal, I want to say. Again, if you're unaware with me, if you're a newcomer to What's on the Tube, I forget names a lot. It takes a while for me to remember it. I believe it is Crystal. I could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. I will try to correct myself next week. She enters in with very much of a curiosity to become a wrestler herself. That's mainly her character arc throughout this entire run. Well, hopefully it will be her entire run. I act like the show's finished or something, which it isn't. And we see all the wrestlers come in, the other guys in the league, including they're bringing in a new guy as well, and they're just getting ready for the big night. And also, I'm just curious, like, we're getting a little bit of, like, a detail in the next scene, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a hobby for them. There's absolutely no way they can make a living off, wrestling, because, like, I'm pretty sure wrestling's only in the weekends, because, like, that's when the biggest crowd can be able to come out. But I'm like, damn, like, they're really putting their lives and everything into this, and, like, it does seem like a career to them, but at the same time, it's not really, like, something to write home about. It's not really something to really say that, hey, I'm making my entire rent off this or something like that. Eventually Jack walks in. He talks with his booking manager about the night, and Jack's still uncertain in how the night should go, because, like, everyone is clamoring for Ace to be, the new champ. It seems like that's going to be the way everyone's expecting it to be, but Jack kind of wants to win. He kind of, his excuse is like, I know what the storyline needs, and I think I am still figuring out how it should end up. Like, should I give into what the audience wants, or should I give into that? And another piece of context is that before they brought in Ace onto the circuit, actually, they were really doing bad in sales. Like, no one was coming out to the shows. No one was carrying anything. They brought Ace in, and him being, like, such a big personality, he brought in all this new attention. And the worry is, if he becomes the champ, that's kind of like the peak what you can do. And the worriness is, will people just start to back out and not even give a damn anymore if he becomes champ? Which makes sense. It does make sense from a storyline perspective and a financial perspective, but at the same time, if you don't give fans what they want, most of the times they leave. It basically is like an echoing of, like, how you have to write the best story you can, but also don't give into fan service just quite yet. But that's still what Jack's torn about, as well as his personal attachments to Ace, and him just wanting him to be in a certain position, in a certain way. So this is a lot for him to determine. He's still having trouble coming up with the script for the night. And then I believe we head over to the convenience store. Ace is getting ready for the big night. He's basically saying, hey, look, when I'm champ, I'm going to be demanding $100 a night. And I'm just thinking to myself, damn, he only gets $50 a night? I mean, I know there's autographs, but I'm like, there's only, I kind of have this argument when it comes to convention, but it's like, there's only so much you can do with a limited amount of people, because they're not going to ask for your autograph, like, every single time. I'm pretty sure they can't charge $5 for an autograph, so, I don't know, that just seems like $50 per show, that's it. And I'm pretty sure they're only max doing 2 shows a week, so that's like only $400. And again, I don't even know how much they're even charging people, as well as for food, and food costs money. It's like, they also have to make a living, and I'm pretty sure one of them, at least 2 of them, have salaries. So I'm like, damn, and that sort of thing. Also, for Ace's character, Ace has not been the best in terms of luck, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure he still lives with his mom, or I'm pretty sure he's just bumming off someone, but he's not doing the best financially either. He's just asking for money, or just asking for, like, loans and stuff like that. He even tries to steal a pack of gum from a local convenience store, and he goes off on the cashier, because the cashier notices him stealing from the gum counter, and he kind of calls her out, like, look, when I was young, my family, we invited your family over for supper a lot of the times, and you kept eating our food a lot. And then when they got a dog and the dog died, they all made a joke that the dad just said, hey, she probably ate him. And everyone laughed about it, and that basically hurt her. Now, her figuring out, like, that really hurt her feelings. She starts crying, and then Ace heads off. And then eventually word hits back to everyone else back at DWL. DWL, I gotta get used to saying that. And Jack finishes the script. It's locked in, and also Crystal wants a locker in the wrestler's room, but the manager says nope. It's only for wrestler. You are just the valet. You stay in your posts, and that's it. We go from there. But however, once the script gets finalized and sent in, everyone's just so happy about the supporting aspects of it. But when Jack gets to the point of like how the final fight ends out, they're kind of bummed, everyone, because they're kind of shocked. Like, wait, wasn't Ace supposed to win the match? And then Ace is just in the back, like just thinking like this is his shot. And then Jack just says, "No, I'm still champ. At the end of the night, I'm still gonna be the champ. You're still gonna be the heel, not the heel, the face." Of course, obviously they head outside, and Ace is obviously clearly mad at Jack because like the whole point of the fan crowd was for Ace to win at the end of the night, and Jack's like, "No, because this is not what the storyline asked for, because like you can't just win on your first attempt because that's not good storytelling." And Ace is obviously confused about the whole matter of it. He's just like, "Well, if everyone likes me, I should be champ," which, I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, yeah, that would be the way things would go. I understand that too. But at the same time, I mean, Jack's kind of got a point, and also Jack's kind of being a little bit of an ass because every time he gets asked to update the script, or every time he's asked, why'd you say this way, he brings up a recent personal example against Ace, and Ace is just feeling bad about it because, oh, it's because I was bad to one person in town, I automatically lose the champ status. And basically, Jack boils it down to, if you win, we lose all the people. People will just say, okay, he won, that's it. I don't have to go to any other show because like he's still going to be the champ. So they don't have to come, revenue goes down, everyone loses their jobs. But if Ace was to win, but if Ace was to lose and Jack still remains the champ, then that will get people to like motivate themselves. Okay, I want to see, maybe next week Ace will come back, and maybe next week, the next time they have a champion match, he will win. And there's just a bunch of big question marks, and just like that's how you engage an audience. But at the same time, you also don't want to burn them out and just pushing them away just because you want to keep the title. So it's like a very fine balance here, but Ace doesn't agree with it at the end of the day. So I believe there's probably another scene, because I'm pretty sure we spent a lot of time at the DWL. I know at some point Jack goes off to go check out his new GoPro cameras for the show, because he wants all the new equipment. He wants new cameras. He wants new fog machines. He wants new light. He wants new mics. He wants new everything. Because he thinks as long as you invest and you keep the show up to date, the people will come back for more. Which is true, but also at the same time, you don't really want to overblow your budget, whatever little budget you have. Ace is obviously, of course, maddened by this. He's incredibly saddened because like he was supposed to win, and he's just very bummed out. Crystal tries to calm him down by like just reading certain aspects of the script just to kind of clarify, hey, look, it's not the end of the world. You could still be the champ later on, but it's not really the case. And she brings up this personal story that like when the first time she saw him, she was already immediately love-stricken because like love-struck that he was just the biggest good-looking football player on the high school football team. And she's like, one day I'm gonna be a wrestler because everyone knows you were Jack Spade. Not Jack Spade. You were I forgot the guy's name. He was the son of their dad, who was like another big wrestler, one of the big champs in the DWL back in the day. They proceed to have a steamy kiss, and we're about to, well, I believe they have sex for like a good total of 7 seconds before some dude was like taking a shit in the bathroom, and he just overhears them like having sex, like, oh, hey dude, I'm out, you do your thing, just let me know when I can come back to finish my shit. And I'm just like, that is just so funny. I think that was like the best moment of the episode for me, just seeing him run away. And then also, I'm still getting used to like Starz and like this like, no, because Starz, HBO, like they don't really have much of like a big, how do you say it, like parental guidance, because like this is not like, you have to pay extra for these specific channels. So I think that they can get away with like doing certain things that would really not cut out on broadcast TV. There's just like certain things, like in this case, seeing like the bare middle section of just Crystal and Ace would not cut out in like public broadcast. Absolutely not. But so that was pretty funny for me to see. Jack heads back to the ring, and there's some trouble brewing because one of the older DWLs that wrestlers that left a long time ago and made it big came back, and everyone's just like clamoring, like, oh my god, it's a big shot, like he's here, he brought food for everyone, and everyone's just like huddled around it because like he's a big deal. He's a really big deal. I forgot his name, but he used to work with Jack and Ace's dad back in the day, and he's just there, revisiting old stomping grounds, just taking in the sights, seeing the old stadium again, the old ring. Jack offers him a drink as just a sign of respect and such, while everyone else is off eating. And look, he's not going to cut Jack any slack. He's only there to recruit Ace. Ace has apparently caught the attention of the big dogs in the big leagues, and with enough training and enough just one-on-one getting him attuned to like the bigger leagues, he could be a big star, and this would be his ticket out of town. But however, it would cost, obviously, because we already got this conversation early in the episode, like this would cost the WL a lot of their business, because a lot of people came out to see Ace. So if Ace was going to move on to the big leagues, they're not going to come to the DWL anymore. They're just not. It's done. It really sucks, and Jack kind of takes offense to this, and he just said, look, he's my brother. I think I know what's best for him, and I don't think the best thing for him would be to go with you. And it's just a dynamic of like, Jack is thinking about the drug aspect and the more negative aspect of being a celebrity wrestler in a bad way. But for the other guy, he's saying like, look, you just don't want him to get more successful than you. That's really about it. So I think it's a high time you just, get out of your stubbornness and just let him be happy and let him like have a chance at the big shit time. And Jack's like, no, not going to happen. Get the fuck out. So he heads that way, and regardless of what happens next, even though Jack's like having second thoughts, like, okay, now that I know this, like, is it really smart for me to like let him still be, like, for the whole script to stay the same? But sadly, the guy also just goes outside and tells him, hey, look, my dudes, my league, we're thinking about recruiting you. And obviously Ace is super happy. He's like, this is my chance. This is like my chance at the big time. And Jack's like, this isn't the way. This should not be happening this way. And then, as a sign of trying to show goodwill, Jack was willing to change the ending if Ace could bring about a better version of it. But Ace doesn't have the experience to write anything or, pace a good fight. And Jack's just, he's not totally down with it. And he doesn't find what he and Krista are saying as to be a good substitution for what he was writing. So he just decides to, you know what? We're just going to keep to the original script. Don't worry about it. We're just going to have me win and then have Ace lose. And then you can just go wherever you want. Ace is still obviously bummed about it because, like, all he does is just try to be there for his brother and try to just follow to what his brother's writing. And, the one thing he wants, he just doesn't get it. He's just not really satisfied at the end of the day about it. And even though when we get to the autograph section, we see everyone just... And also, I'm just very much surprised at how... Like, the Towns is, like, so in commission to, like, DWL, and it's just, like, we got a decent show up for this big championship match, and just seeing the autograph session. It does remind me of a convention, even though I've never been to a convention before physically. From what I just saw online, just looking at that, it's like, wow. That is a lot of people. I never imagined this to be a lot of people. But, anyway. So, from there on, I believe we get to... Ace and Krista are in the back, on the back, just drinking some beer. Obviously, Ace is still very much annoyed with Jack, very annoyed by it. And the other wrestler, the former DWL, shows up around and tells him, let's go for a ride. Let's go for a ride. Let's talk a bit, boy. Let's talk. They head around to a nearby place because this town looks definitely similar. I honestly thought they were just like in a further part away from like the main station, but like no, they're in another part of the town. And he's just honest with him, like, look, Jack doesn't see the bigger picture here. He just thinks, like, you're just an incompetent little brother, and you should just stay in town and work in his little league. This is your chance for the big time. So, if you're not champ, it doesn't matter. As long as you put out a good show tonight, and I have something to show the recruiters and the people and the higher-ups, then you're in. Just put on the best show, read the script as best as you can, and then show them, like, you can perform. That's all you can do right now. It doesn't matter if you hold the championship belt or not. And he's starting to push him to, like, a little bit more of the negative side, which is, like, putting him on drugs, drinking beer with drugs, telling him to, like, get a little bit dirty. Sometimes, like, trying to teach a lesson to Jack. And he's considering it for a bit, but he's like, oh, no, this isn't the right way. This should not be the right way right now. And I believe we do get a scene with Um, there's just so many scenes in the DWL. Like, we just, like, yeah, again, remember, this is a butcher recap, so please just go watch the main episode to freaking see the better version of, like, this plot. I apologize for that. I believe at some certain point, Ace, Jack decides to go look for one of his guys that's up on the water tower and talks to him about, like, I have a change of plan. Maybe it's better if you can instead you come back in the last match. You try to fight Ace, and then at the end of the day, Ace is still going to go away, do his WWE thing, or do whatever his bigger league is going to be, and you become the heel, and I become the face, so that we could use that energy to kind of build up this new dynamic where we don't need it. And that literally is, I guess you can say that's Jack literally trying his best to, like, make everything work. Like, okay, Ace can go do what he wants to do, and then we could still do our own thing and still keep that energy alive, starting a whole new rivalry in the middle of it. But he breaks the news because he and his wife just got pregnant recently. Well, not recently, but they got pregnant, and now the baby's due. And it's like, look, as much as I love this, it's not paying the bills. Like, I could be putting in more hours at my job, maybe become a manager down the line, if I stick the course and, focus on job instead of this thing. And he's like, I was going to plan on retiring after tonight, and I just didn't know how to tell you. And Jack's like, fuck, I'm losing two people in one go. And it kind of does suck. It really does suck for them. And there's nothing more they can do. So Jack accepts it and, like, don't worry about it. You don't have to be healed. Just do the original script and that'll be fine for your final night. Back in the office, Jack and Ace come back in and they're just talking about, like, why couldn't things be different? And they just have a whole argument about their whole family history and everything. And all Ace wants to do is, I just want to be up there. I just want to be on the wall with you and Dad, and then go on to be able to do whatever I want in life. But you're preventing me from doing it. And Jack's like, look, you're just not seeing the bigger picture here, because, like, I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to rebuild something from the ground up, just so that we can all have a chance to live the good life. Which, it makes sense. I understand that, but at the same time, he is really pushing away his family and making the wrong choices that are a little bit more selfish than them, caring for his family. But eventually he and Ace reach a standstill. Ace goes out there, to cheer for his adoring fans and all that sorts. And the main championship match begins. It's just a montage of all the other wrestlers in the starter matches, just having fun, just having that energy. Jack is still thinking about, like, should I redo the script? Should I redo this? Ace is just still, like, is going a little bit over the edge. He takes some sort of drug. I forgot what it was. He's also given this old wooden block that his dad used to use back in the day when he was a wrestler. And he's given that as kind of like just a symbolism, like, I am the next hero. I will be the next champ. Which, for me, for the longest time, I thought the match was going to go that he was going to hit Jack in the head, and then it was going to really cause him to, like, be out of it, and then that's going to be enough to cause him to lose, actually, and then have Ace win by default. So that was my original thinking of it. Crystal was also secretly planning her wrestling debut at some point during the championship match, but then she gets called up by the head manager. Like, nope, you can't do this. You're not supposed to be here. Get out. And then I believe it's time. Championship match. Ace and Jack are about to get called into the ring. Obviously, tension's still high, and they ended up nearly getting into a fight in the back room. But thankfully, it gets broken up. The previous match winner kind of just defuses the tension for, like, quite a bit until Jack decides to go out there and begin the script, begin the show, that sort of thing. So it seems like this was gonna like. Anything can go. Like, they've written so many possible ways this ending can go, and, like, I'm just thinking to myself, how are they gonna end up this first episode? How are they gonna? Because I know, like, they still have some more episodes to go, and then there's a whole big stay. Like, obviously, everyone still needs to stay in town, so I'm like, I know that, okay, Ace is not gonna go away because there's something more to keep him in town. But then, however, when we get to that point where the match begins, Jack immediately takes him out. Like, for real. Like, physical strength-wise, it takes him off guard. Ace is, like, pinned down. He's really getting hurt in his arm. And there's nothing he can do. The referee's like, if you keep doing like this, you're actually gonna hurt him. And Jack's like, I know. So call it. So, literally, the match is over by then. No show, nothing. Jack just wins by default. Ace loses. He starts to cry, which is like, oh my god, you never cry when you're a big eye, you never cry in the setting, and he does. Everyone gets upset because like this was supposed to be the biggest match. You literally blown it in like the first minute. You win, and even Ace is being hated on because like Ace is supposed to be a hero. He's not supposed to be crying. He's supposed to be this tough bravado guy. Everyone's just turning against him, and for all of us, it seems like to be the end of the DWL, and that was the end of the first episode. So, for me, I really, really loved this premiere. I really did. This definitely, like, everything about it was, like, they kept me on my toes, and even the ending, like, just having Jack just say, fuck the script, fuck everything, fuck Ace, I'm just keeping him at home, he's not getting his chance, I'm done. And I was like, fucking hell, like, there is no wonder why no one is supporting him, because like he's literally not being friendly towards everyone, and this is kind of guilty too. Like he literally is letting his deep desires kind of take over his judgment, and just so, oh man, I was just like, really, damn, I really feel sorry for him. I really did. And just like the whole, like, where does it go from here? Because like the whole point of the show is about wrestling, and I'm just like, everyone hates you now, so where do you go from here? Like that's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm trying to get more curious about as we go along with the story. And we'll see how that goes. But for me, I really enjoyed the premiere. I think every character has a purpose. They have a straight journey, and I can't wait to see how this all gets resolved by the end of the season in about another 7 weeks. So I give this premiere 2 thumbs up. I really did enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this premiere episode for Heels? I would love to talk about it because none of my friends watch Heels right now. So please put a comment down below. And I think that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube, reviewing every episode of Heels on Starz. If you want to know what we're doing normally on What's in the Tube besides our Heels episode reviews, we're currently doing Walker reviews each and every Friday mornings after a brand new episode on Thursday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. Currently, we have wrapped our episode reviews, so this Friday coming up, we have the Walker Season 1 review, non-spoilers, and then next Friday, we have the Season 2 predictions video, so stay tuned for all that next week. We're also doing DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. We've just recently posted a Titan Season 3 first impression, so go please check that out if you want to hear me talk more about Titan Season 3 this season. Otherwise, you'll hear more thoughts about it at the end of the run. But if you don't care about Heels, you're in luck. We'll be back next week for a brand new episode of Heels. Normally, it would be on the Monday time slot, but like a lot of things happened this weekend, so I had to push everything back. So we will be back next week, Monday, for a brand new episode, so stay tuned then. But again, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX videos. Ring that bell for notification when our next Heels episode review is live, which is normally each and every Monday mornings. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps get us out there to other members of the, what am I going to call you guys? What am I going to call you? My hair's a mess, by the way. I'm going to call y'all the, for all the other Duffies that have yet to discover us, as well as it helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much, and sharing is always for free here on the internet. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel, including our brand new Instagram page. And for all you Duffies out there, I'll see y'all next week for the start of another journey in the world of wrestling. Well, I don't know why I said another. I'm too tired for this. So again, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.